Hello everybody. I'm just going to tell you about a few little bits I forgot to mention in previous videos. First of all, Sarah is standing on a little platform so that she can get my head in on occasion. We don't want to miss this feature, do we really? Well, turn around, Sarah, show them that piece of steel there, been there 50 odd years, never ever rusts because I'm always standing on it. Everything else is rusted. Right, a little bit about the Norris adjuster. I didn't mention much. At the period when Norris invented his adjuster, 1913 his first patent and 1922 his second. He improved the bottom end on the second one. Nobody made, or very few people made adjusters at that time. Spears didn't, Matheson didn't, and so on. At a later date, Spears had a bit of a go at making an adjuster, and it was right at the end of production, and it was a dead loss. It was a tuckney-halfpenny little brass thing. But this is what made Norris extremely famous, was his adjuster. Lateral adjustment, up and down, one lever, twin threads as I mentioned before, beautifully made. Many years ago when I started to make planes, I asked various people if they could make me one of these, even people that had worked for Rolls-Royce, and none of them wanted to know. It was too complicated for a small run. So that's his adjuster, wonderful. What else? Here we go again, a little bit more about mitre planes. A lot of people have got the wrong idea about this cheese head screw. They think it's for bashing, retracting the iron, but originally it was nothing to do with that, and I'll tell you why. The very early English mitre planes didn't have a cheese head screw, and I've just noticed while I was having my breakfast, none of these have got screws in the back, or no cheese head screws, other than the one I've just showed you. And it did have a battered up countersunk screw in there, which I took out and replaced because it looks the part. So that one didn't have a cheese head screw. And three of these four planes are extremely early, can't even date them. This is one of them. This is probably my oldest mitre plane, all in bronze, no cheese head screw whatsoever. See how it's been damaged? And incidentally, in my opinion, you should never hit a plane with a metal hammer anywhere on the plane other than the bit it's intended for, the nibbed iron. And that's to take the blade backwards and forwards, as you all know. You don't have to bash it there. A lot of planes, hundreds of planes have been destroyed where they've smashed the backs in. I've seen them and they've gone in dustbins and this, that and the other. A long while ago, I must admit, but it did happen a lot. So that's probably my earliest plane. This is a very early plane. In appearance, no name on it, I've told you before. This one hasn't got a screw in it. It hasn't even got a snacked iron, or a nibbed iron, sorry, nibbed iron. This is the snacked iron. If it's on the side, it's a snack. If it's on the top, it's a nib. You must get that right. Right. So there's nothing on that one. And incidentally, when you take the wedge out and the iron out, the rear infill in this one has never been never been stuck in or anything. I better show you. A bit of beach or something. The wedge and the iron hold it in place. Which leads on to something I wanted to tell you. I've showed you that one, I'll replace that. Now this one is, compared to the other three, much later. It's got book on, I've told you before, made by Spears almost certainly because of this detail. Now this hasn't got, this would be about 19 something when it was made. Perhaps 19, 20, 30. Could even be a bit later, could be a bit earlier. But this one hasn't got any form of screw in the back, but it has got a round mark where there's a screw in there and it's been filed off from original. And this is what I'm getting to. Originally, the screw in the back, the countersunk screw, they always had a countersunk screw in the beginning, was purely to hold the rear infill in. And very often they would have a screw there on the early ones to hold the front infill in. At a later date they put rivets in, sometimes doing away with the screws. This one incidentally has got rivets. One there, and of course one for the bridge. Very fine mouth. Right, then at a later date, it appears to me they put a countersunk screw in after nothing at all. And if it's countersunk, of course you cannot hit it with a hammer, so it was purely to hold the rear infill in. And I think I mentioned at a later date they put rivets through the sides to hold the infills in. This one's loose, as I told you. So purely to hold the infill in. Obviously later on somebody had the bright idea, I suppose it was because people by that time, all carpenters were bashing them on the back, so they put this cheesehead screw in. At least that helped to prevent damage in this part, but I still wouldn't recommend you hit that with a hammer. There's no need. This is to take the wedge. If you want to take the wedge out, it's that. If you want to adjust the iron with a steel hammer, it's that. No need to bash the plane anywhere, especially with a steel hammer. Hello, 8 minutes to pass, so I've got to shorten it. One of my planes, and I'm always telling my mates even, don't, when they pick up a plane, especially if it's old, and they can't get the wedge out, they're at a David Stanley sale or something, they try to get it out by giving it this and that and the other. And if you tap these left and right for a period of time, they break there. There's numerous wooden planes that are cracked there. So I certainly don't recommend that. It's got to be that and that. Just that was a final thought.